Well, if I introduce you to a national monument, believe me, it's not as grim as all that. Margot Kidder, you are a national institution now.
Wow.
In the Smithsonian, there you are. You were having a great time with Chris Reeve there last night.
I didn't know we were going to be in the Smithsonian. I mean, it never occurred to me that I was worthy of being in the Smithsonian Institute. So I was so excited. I think I lost my cool a bit. I don't think I was very dignified. I felt like jumping up and down and screaming and running to everybody I knew and phoning them and going, guess what I'm in?
Well, now, for example,
so I felt pretty proud and excited.
Did you see anything there that just surprised you or delighted you, especially there on display?
Well, I said, you know, the one thing that moved me is that scene I think everyone likes, is the flying scene with Superman. And Christopher and I stood there together, and we're very close, and there's a lot of love there. And he's like my brother. And we watched something we'd done 9 years before that had turned out really beautifully because of Dick Donner. And there was just this moment of going, that was 9 years ago. It's become history now. It's in the Smithsonian. Here we are together now. We've grown to love each other. We didn't, the love grew.
Now, as you watched...
And so it was a very moving moment for me. And it's a very beautiful scene, too. You know, I thought, hey, I looked pretty good, didn't I? I did a good job there, I thought.
Is it easy now to forget the pain of being harnessed and hung and all of that?
Yeah.
That passes, and what you remember is the good stuff, huh?
Well, you sometimes remember the bad stuff, but you try not to say it on TV.
Okay, but does the flying, does it get any easier? Do these technicians...
The flying, well, actually, in fact...
Have they improved over the years now?
No, what happened on this one was very complicated, and I don't know what happened in the negotiation. However, the first producers somehow, for some reason that obviously had to do with money, wouldn't sell all that computerized, brilliant equipment they developed on 1, 2, and 3 to the new producers, Canon.
Really?
They were holding out for some ridiculous amount of money. So finally Canon said, well, we can't afford to buy it. We'll make our own. So they did.
Oh.
And some of it was a little primitive. So as opposed to the very smooth computerized flying that we'd done the first one, there were a couple of times where Chris and I were just put in these body molds that didn't fit very well on the end of a pole with, instead of a computer, 2 guides bouncing up and down, and everything in our sinuses, sort of our eyes bulging out of our heads and trying to look like we loved each other and going,
body parts rearranging.
I know.
So it was a bit more uncomfortable.
It was a bit more uncomfortable, but it got smoothed out. I mean, they worked it out.
You go solo.
And I fly on my own.
This is like a pilot sallying out for the first time in the clouds.
Yeah.
So explain how that's done, because you don't have
Superman is so strong that he can propel me, much like shooting a pencil. He shoots me off, and by the sheer airspeed that I have picked up because of the power of his thrust, I am able to stay up. I don't know what my glide ratio was. I didn't check it out. I would assume in the film it's probably 12 or 20 to 1 glide ratio, which means 12 out to 1 down. I'm a hang glider, so I know this stuff.
I see.
So he propels me off, and I go first in terror, and then I get to like this. This is kind of fun. Then I try a few tricks I've seen old Soupy do, and a few back flips there, and whoops. And then, oh dear, I run out of steam, as you will, in a glider, because I'm a glider and he's a plane. And it's down, I start to go, and then he saves me. And so.
Now, you mentioned 9 or 10 years ago. There must have been a comparison between the high of the Smithsonian experience and 9 or 10 years ago when you're auditioning, saying, what is this? Well, right? Big contrast?
Yeah, because I didn't know 9 or 10 years ago that this was such a big deal.
Did you approach it with a certain amount of even skepticism?
I'm not a very skeptical person generally. I'm a pretty enthusiastic kind of person. So I just thought it was a great script. You know, I didn't know anything about Superman. I had heard of him obviously, but I'd never seen any of the shows or read the comics or anything like that. So it was another movie.
When we go into the 21st century, a new generation of actors will take on these roles. I asked you this yesterday. I'd like to get that answer again. What would you advise the new Lois? Hindsight, cautions, expectations.
What did I say yesterday?
Yeah, well, I'm testing you. What would you say to a new lady stepping into the role years to come?
Stepping into the role of Lois as opposed to the career question you gave me yesterday? Yeah. Put your own heart, whatever you've got in your own heart and soul, into it, and don't get too locked into the to the rules of the comic book, I would think. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Figure out how the character walks, how she dresses, and then put your heart and soul into it, not somebody else's heart and soul into it.
Have you already designated an item of apparel, a prop that you've used in the films to maybe go in that Smithsonian case in years to come?
No, but I had the most, I wonder if I can tell this, the most embarrassing thing happened to me. You know, they have celebrity auctions? Well, I always buy a set of pink underwear because I get people coming up to me in the street and going, pink. And so I buy a set of very demure underwear, clean, fresh, unworn, and write a note to whatever charity. This was Lois Lane's underwear, not worn. This was part of the costume. The last time I did this, my secretary got it wrong and put Margot Kidder's underwear. There's this thing on the paper of this. Why would Misha Baruzhnikov donated his ballet shoes, and we have Margot Kidder's underpants? And I was so mortified. It was just horrible. So I don't think it would be the pink underwear.
Well, isn't it the weird
thing? It would
thing?
be the normal thing.
The most ordinary items of life become enshrined in this place. Everyday things that we take for granted. Not a Superman cape, but a pencil, a bow tie from...
I think for Lois it should be your notebook.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought you would say.
The notebook with the bad spelling. Because I used to really write notes. You know, while I was sitting there, I'd write little stories and stuff.
What if we had just a quick second to explore another side of Margot Kidder? I love horror films. Sisters and Black Christmas are two of the nastiest, most fun horror stories. I love them both. Is there a part of you that maybe you've left behind with dark roles like that?
Well, actually, the dark roles, I like the roles. I don't like horror movies myself, but they are fun to make. But I got a chance in all of those. In Peter Proud, I was 24. I played a 52-year-old alcoholic woman. I mean, that was really a great acting opportunity. In Sisters, that was a big challenge. Brian De Palma was great. I would like to go back to get away from light comedy, which I seem to be stamped with now. And I don't think of myself as particularly funny or light comedy.
You're a riot. In fact, for a cultural institution, I think you're a pretty nice lady. I've sure enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
We're talking about Superman 4 in Washington, D.C. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5.